My name is Tom Curran. I'm a farm structure specialist with Teagasc in the Farm Management and Rural Development Department, and I'm speaking to you today on dairy share farming for Ireland. I suppose when we think about dairy share farming, we think about New Zealand, where it has been in existence since the 1880s. So it's a new venture here, and it's a new possibility here for dairy farmers, mainly because of the abolition of milk quotas on the 31st of March 2015. We also have structural issues here now, an ageing population farming. By the virtue of the quotas being in place, dairying was a very difficult enterprise to get into. You either had to be born into it or marry into it, essentially. In recent years we had new entrants to dairy quotas, and that facilitated about 400 new entrants. Whereas with the removal of quotas, we will be able to generate or create a dairy share farming model where somebody from a non-farming background, or somebody who just wants a career in dairy farming, that they can go into a share farming arrangement with an existing dairy farmer or landowner, and thereby enter into the business that way. Key benefits for the share farmers is, number one, people from non-farming backgrounds, people from second sons and daughters maybe that already have a brother or sister at home farming, have the option maybe to go and generate their own farming career. Or farm managers as well. We have the Irish Farm Managers Association have given us a lot of support in developing the model, and they can now see a career path for them which they couldn't see before. So that's where it fits in. For landowners then, on the other side of the equation, you have people who maybe have no successor, or have a family who have no interest in farming, who don't want to maybe retire or change enterprise, and an option for them maybe form an agreement with a share farmer, be able to take a step back from the direct day-to-day running of the dairy farm, and essentially all they have to do is provide the facilities and the land for which the agreement will take place on. The share farmer will do the work, carry out routine maintenance, and what happens then is that you have a split of the output. So the milk check is split at source, so a portion goes to the landowner and a portion goes to the share farmer, and in the agreement then they go through all the various different costs with producing milk, and they come to an agreement on how they're going to split that costs. So one of the key constructs of this is that it's one farm and two completely separate businesses operating on the one farm. So the share farmer is a sole trader in his own right, or a company, and the landowner likewise. So there's no crossover in between, and that's one of the key defining concepts of share farming. So from that point of view, it allows, as I say, new people to get involved in dairying, which that opportunity hasn't been there to date. It may take a number of years to really get going. I think one of the things we will need, I suppose, is scale, the ability to achieve scale. So on very small farm sizes, it's probably not going to be a runner, but maybe where you have large farm size, maybe with a modest sized dairy herd and a beef enterprise, and so on, that there's potential to increase the size of the dairy herd and generate two incomes from it. That sort of a scenario will lend itself very well to share farming. It also provides maybe the opportunity for existing farmers who maybe want to have developed their own home farm to the maximum, and maybe will be able to get involved in another farm elsewhere as a lessor of the farm, but with a share farmer operating the farm and so on. So maybe to develop a second enterprise somewhere. So that's the role of share farming. That's where it fits into our industry, and you know, it's going to be a hugely positive step for the dairy industry going forward, because it will allow us an avenue or a way that young people can continuously come into the industry, and we'll hopefully try and reduce the average age of dairy farmers in Ireland. A key element maybe of achieving Harvest 2020 targets in terms of getting young people in, people who will operate the business in a way that will benefit them so they can progress in their careers, and that will have a knock-on effect on local economies and the national economy with greater output and so on. One of the key things about the share farming concept is that it's an incentivized model of milk production. So because both parties are receiving an income from it and are paying costs in it, they're both incentivized that the more efficient the system is run, the better both parties do. And with any of these collaborative arrangements, that's absolutely critical that the farmers involved are both benefiting from it.